So basically what happened in game 1 is they dropped 2 minutes in. They were able to restore, but we could not watch the first 2 minutes without the game crashing. So we're starting at the 2-minute mark. And Dave, if you're ready, I'm ready.
I am definitely ready.
Okay, hold on a second. That was really weird. So apparently when I went for my break, I had the stream music on so I could track how I could track where we were at, and I heard my own voice coming out of my pocket for a second. I was like, what is that? Okay. Game number 1 between Avelo and Edward Longshanks. And again, we are going to be 2 minutes in to this game. Many people think there's some big names here, and it's Hidden Cup, so there should be. And here we are. Now, when we get into the game, after the restore, the eagle for Avelo is already forward, Dave. And Avelo has gone for Mayans. And Edward Longshanks has gone for Franks, which is something that we saw in game number 1 in the previous set.
It's interesting to me. He went for Mayans. He went to scout really early, and he passed both boars and didn't even bite.
Yeah, didn't even bite. Well, they're on the back side, right? We have seen one lane, which was pretty brutal so far today. But I think this was a good scripting move on our part to allow laming. It's definitely part of the game, but just put those boars in the backside to limit it a little bit.
He did get a pig, though, but he's missing the 2 of his pigs at the front. So
gotcha.
Red has the potential to find that. And Blue, Avilo, shooting the boar with the TC.
Yeah, and so did Edward. According to the list I made, which is probably highly inaccurate at the start of the 4-day event, I determined that 12 of the 16 do it pretty regularly. Whereas last year, Dave, if someone did that, we would have said Mr. Yo. So everyone seems to be doing that except for a few names. And you can see the results from these players in the previous rounds. The only player who's undefeated, Dave, is the blue player, Avelo. Avilo.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. It'll only get better from here, except it won't. Thoughts on the gold on the front there?
Do you see what overlay guy just put Throwbrakar?
It's getting to the point where players are going to start feeling disrespected just because of the overlay guy,
Yeah.
And it's not, this is even worse. It's not overlay guy. It's Dux. It's not even overlay guy. Overlay guy is getting the bad reputation, but Dux is manning the controls. He's having a good time there. But yeah, man, that gold could be really brutal long term if that's not locked down.
Yeah, he's going to have to figure out some way to secure that. And meanwhile, the Frank player going for some early walls to try and secure his forward berries. That could be a risk.
Oh, like crazy walls, actually.
Mm-hmm.
You could almost go fast castle if you continue to wall. Not that you should, but with 2 more villagers to the right side, you could be fully walled in there. That is a little surprising to me because typically the scouts player is going to want to not start walling until they are on the way to the next stage. That way their villagers are collecting resources. And pig steal? Ooh, double pig. Okay. Now, this is the play, Dave. Go back in there. Never mind. Don't do it. I was going to say go back and try and kill the pigs, but the scout's weak and important, and it runs away.
Yeah, I think in that situation, that's probably the better play. It's not worth the 2 pigs if you lose your scout early.
Yeah. Of course, that scout HP will be even higher in 2 minutes now for Edward. That will be 45 HP, or 54 HP, but now he's lost a bit, so it'll be around a normal scout's HP. Still haven't seen the click up yet for Avelo. Did we miss something? Did he shoot a boar with his TC? He had both boars, right?
Yeah, he did. I think he's just he's planning on going men-at-arms here, but he's going 23 pop men-at-arms. I
mean, it is Mayans of all the Mesosivs, it is a little bit more difficult for them to pull off that 22 pop-up, which is standard. So it's not the end of the world. He also had wall villagers. Crazy walls for both players here, man.
Yeah, unfortunately for Blue, I mean, he's going to have to hope that he keeps the military from Red at home for a while because the scouts are going to be out pretty quickly, and that gold is going to take some effort to secure.
Yeah, Edward Longshanks showing how important the scouting is here. Scouted the base, now sees the barracks, so now knows something which is rather uncommon, that Mayans will open with man-at-arms, but the follow-up will probably be into archers. The barracks is going up on the right side. I don't love the positioning of this. Normally, I'd like the stable in front, but just getting that stable up, getting the scouts out, and then sticking to that fantastic economy with Franks is the way to go.
Engagement here as Edward is in feudal age, so he does have the extra attack with his scout. But Vilo on the hill, and yeah, the feudal age bonus wins out in the end.
Yep. It was a weird one, too. I wasn't sure who was on the hill and who wasn't, but they were sharing a similar area, and I'm just liking Edward's start a bit more, Dave. But wait a second. Are these villagers going to collect deer, or are they actually going forward? Okay. I was going to say, Velo was not a forward-style player in the first round.
This seems 4 men-at-arms. Like, this is late, though. Doesn't it feel late?
It feels weird when the enemy's walled. That's the simplest way to put it. And we see an early archer range as well from Edward, so he might be thinking sooner rather than later to get some skirms and archers out, which is also rather uncommon.
Yeah, and even if, like, Avilo's only option here seems like try and bust through near the berries. If you can't get through there, hit the stable and try and take that out. Unfortunately for him, there's going to be that archer range you talked about.
That's
so one archer on the field, and suddenly the men-at-arms they're not holding military at home. They're not doing any damage. They're doing nothing.
Now, the downside for adding the range early is that's a lot of wood investment. That could be 3 farms. And, oh, what a play. He's going to pick off the reinforcements. Well, he's not going to pick it off, but he's close to it, and he takes it, Dave. Ah! Hello?
You gotta stop. Like, just wait till it happens, you know?
Wait, ah!
You almost did it. You almost did it there again.
Okay.
He almost had you again.
All right. Well, I'm just feel so empty inside after that. Like, clearly Edward was trying to do that and just didn't get the pick off. That's rather sad. But, yeah, 1 archer and 1 skirm behind Dave. The farm count will suffer for Edward because of that, but I still like how he's going to have his stable.
Yeah, would you rather have a farm count suffering or 4 completely useless men-at-arms?
I could have seen delaying the range a little bit. Like, add the range when you think the ranged units will come forward from the enemy.
Yeah.
And I think, it's so tough because the top 16 is still the top 16, but I think most top 5, top 6 would be super greedy. Like, think Hera, for example. He gets as many farms down as possible before adding that range.
Yeah.
But just things to think about, of course, and it's certainly not bad for Edward, but his scouts are rather weak, Dave, and I don't see them getting any damage in.
No, but they have forced out, like, a couple spearmen in defense, which is more eco-investment. If you think about all the food that he's invested in these men-at-arms and the spearmen, it adds up over time, right?
Yeah. Can't help but like the fact that Avelo has been able to bring in the deer, too. I mean, just 1, but that every little bit helps. Here comes the scouts. They think, oh, yeah, we're going to get a kill, and nope, you're going to die. And now big pressure in the middle.
We've circled back around to the point where the men-at-arms are finding value again because there's skirmishers on the field.
Yeah, that's an awkward one. I can kind of understand what was going through Edward's mind. He just expected the archers to group up with the men-at-arms. Then Avelo just hit the berries anyways. So, I mean, the thing about the Mayans is if they're able to keep their archer numbered high going up to the next stage, Dave, they could be very strong. So far, so good for Avelo. And berries, it's something you would have wanted to collect by now, I think, with Franks.
Yeah, obviously, the berries were the most exposed part of his economy, though. You don't want to send too many to there when it's so far forward and you know your opponent has range units on the field.
Interesting game here. I think Edward's got to have some more confidence to push out here. It's also fascinating how he hasn't even gone for a blacksmith yet. Not even getting fletching, so it seems like he just wants to sit behind his walls and invest as little as possible, which is a strat, you know, I'm not saying it's bad.
Well, he does have a blacksmith in the back. He just hasn't gotten fletching.
Oh, I missed it. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, there's fletching then. That makes sense if you've got it.
You know, one benefit of shooting the boar with the TC is that blue has no weak villagers that can be potentially sniped by these scouts.
That combined with getting Loom at the start with Mayans, very hard for those scouts to do anything. Okay, and here come the skirms. Now, what I like about the position for Avelo is that he hasn't sent forward many more archers after this group, and he's still got the man-at-arms, which could contribute at least delaying the skirms. Is that bear gonna kill the weak one in there? Awkward. And I think it was going for the weak one, honestly. It was hungry. Here we go. A few eagles coming out, Dave. And this is good for Edward to clear out the archers. I think he'll be okay with this.
Yeah.
The only thing is, do you think he maybe made too many skirmishers for the Frank player?
It's tough to know, right? I think maybe 2 or 3 too many. But if your opponent's going really heavy onto archers, you could have been at risk there.
Yeah, okay. Well, we see quite a few eagles now, and Edward might be rather confused because he might not know what the investment is. But I think if you see this many eagles, you've got to assume that it will be just an eagle play as opposed to archers. And you see Velo going to try and do something I think is very similar to round 1. I'm trying to remember. But I think it was Mayans, and I think it was eagle play.
I know it was a Mezzo Civ. I'm not 100% sure if it was Mayans.
Oh,
but,
you're right. I think it was Aztecs against Mayans, and it was quite a good game there. But I'm probably confusing so many sets at this point. And another thing here is the skirms will spot the second barracks. It's probably your better play now that the Franks have invested so heavily into something like skirms, and they'll probably switch right back into knights.
That's an important piece of scouting there for Edward as well. He saw the villager out there. There's no reason for that villager to be out there other than the fact that blue is on the way to the castle age and he wants a forward siege workshop.
Yeah,
or a forward monastery.
That's true.
So he gives him 2 pieces of information. He's interested in going forward and he's up to the next stage.
3. I think he's expecting to get siege pushed on that stable, Dave. And so he's added another one in the back. He is worried about this, so I think this is proper preparation from Edward. And I honestly feel as though it will be a monastery opening for Avelo, just to get monks out before any siege, because that could convert the knights.
We saw that, I think, was it from Cobra Car we saw that? Where he went Mayans and he went for a siege push, but it wasn't like an all-in. He had 2 TCs behind it. And it was kind of like a distraction strategy against the Franks to give yourself time to wall up and boom your economy.
Dave, it's virtually identical. Like forward monastery, second TC. That's exactly what Cobra Car did against Edward, and it was an incredible game that Edward ended up winning. So it's fascinating how similar this is. All right. Well, there's going to be monks coming out here, and this is not something that Red will see. I would almost like to see a scout, but I think he's expecting a siege push, which is why he's added his own siege, but he's just going for a scorpion right now. He's just waiting for the knight numbers.
Dude, this is exactly this. This is the same game. We've just flipped north and south, basically. I mean, he's already added a second TC behind this. He goes with the monastery first, and he'll probably go with a siege workshop as soon as he has enough wood. Or if he sees the knight numbers are too much, he just backs up.
Now, the incredible thing is that, again, we saw the previous rounds. We can compare them, but players could not see what happened in other rounds. They play their rounds behind closed doors with the exception of the semifinals and the finals. We'll see those tomorrow, but you basically can use strategies and surprise people, so you tend to see different strats because people can't figure out what everyone else is doing. But it's just, they've found themselves in similar spots, I guess, because the players are so good, and also Arabia, kind of a map that's understood as the knight goes in there and gets the pick off, Dave. That's a big moment.
Yeah, now blue can't make that siege workshop.
Yeah, that was a big one. Now the scorpions do go down though, Dave, and it's a lot of infantry units there. It feels like the knights are gonna win though, and they do.
2 monks out onto the field. See if he gets lucky with the conversions. He gets 2. Wow.
Okay. Yeah, and he could just turn right around and take out the scorpion. All right. But Edward, this is not a bad spot to be in. Now, his reaction in the first time we saw him in this position was to have the second TC. He didn't do that this time. He went for the third stable. But I can't say that his position is bad at all when he's taking map control away, and there's very little going on here for Velo.
Yeah, and Cobra Car's push against him did so much more damage than this one is doing currently. Like, it bought so much more time. I mean, Avilo is still in a pretty good position here economically, but he's going to have to start building up some mass now because those knights are getting to dangerous numbers.
Yeah, and now your monastery is forward. So I don't see that being a comfortable spot. And we will see the pikeman upgrade and additional barracks. It's good recognition from the only player who is undefeated so far in this tournament. And that's Avilo or Avilo or whatever. Which one is it again? Ivay?
Avilo.
Ivay. Okay, Ivay. I'll think eyes. That's fine. It's good recognition to get more barracks on the field, Dave, and he'll go with 4.
And he's gonna lose a couple extra monks. Yikes. Might pick off a monk here from red though.
Does get it. That's annoying. But here come the knights knocking on the door. There's no monks at home. So where's your god now, Ivilo? That's also a free relic, you know, right in the middle of the map, and Edward Longshanks can take that. And Edward's looking really clean here, Dave. I have to say.
Yeah, really, really good defense there. And clearing up that forward so early is such a big deal here. And now he's in to the walls. Blue couldn't wall behind that palisade. There is pikemen in defense, but like I was saying in the previous set, like knights are so mobile, right?
Yeah.
They can just run away from the pikemen, and if it's similar numbers, they can just straight up engage.
That was a really interesting fight, because that is the exact same patrol into the pikemen that I saw in Edward's first series. And I can't really attribute that to a certain player. But he got on top of the pikemen to get a good KD. But overall, those are still weak, and I think Avelo is going to be happy economically, at least, to have been on 3 town centers for a while. So Edward is... I'm beginning to fear a little bit for Edward that if he's not pressuring, and I would really like to see a siege forward here, that maybe the eco kicks in for the Mayan player, and he can get map control again.
Yeah, especially with the score so close after you know you've wiped up a significant amount of military from blue.
Yeah.
And you've got like those high impact units on the field. You got to be thinking, ooh, he's got at least 2 extra TCs behind this.
Okay. The siege is perfect here. The siege and getting a few monks to heal your knights is the play. And this is a spot, even without the armor, where I think you could consider fighting. But if blue gets the armor, yeah, got some weak knights. This is dangerous.
He can fight this straight up. He can win that fight. It's just how many knights is he going to have left over after that, right?
Yeah. And the HP, too. He's got 6 weak ones in there. But not an easy position for Avelo to push and engage. He's got to engage up the hill. And there's no way for him to really raid or go around here. So the fight's going to go down right in front of us.
I love the pikeman edition. Or not the pikeman, sorry. The scorpion edition for the pikeman.
And still 2 TCs for Edward. But that should lead to more army production. So
he's got villagers on stone, though, Tristan.
Okay. Maybe
thinking about like a castle in between, like right beside that gold on the hill, kind of pressures the main gold as well.
Oh my goodness, this engagement though, it almost feels like that was bad for Edward, because he let Ivelo have that hill, and now his units aren't engaging. And I know he's got the hill now, Dave, but I think Ivelo with his eco will like this fight.
Yeah, it depends, right? It depends how many knights are left over. Does red have any monks to heal these up? I mean, there's still a significant amount alive, and the military from Avilo is completely gone now. He's going for a super defensive castle on the other side of his gold. He knows how risky this is.
Yeah, I'm a little uncertain on this situation, right? Because you can't do damage with those knights. That's my concern. You can't raid with those because pikemen could deal with that. So you hold, but you're really just holding in a situation where I feel when you're behind an economy, you should be pushing a bit more. But I like the defensive castle, and maybe we could see a switch into some plumed archers or something later on for the Mayan player.
Avilo going for that 3rd TC in the back rather than going for the castle right away. He still has some on stone, and he's sending more now, so he's definitely thinking about it.
Okay. Yeah, I love the fact that you can just switch into castles. You go for axemen with knights. That's what Edward Longshanks did to win against Mayans in game 1 in the first round.
The threat with that is always, like, axemen aren't as mobile as eagles. You could get raided to death.
And,
right?
and look
Blue's
where Avelo's
looking
going.
for opportunities. Yep, right to the stone.
He goes right to the stone. He knows that guy's on stone. He's like, no. Stay away from those castles, please. Thank you. Quick walls here from Edward. Should make knights to deal with that, no problem. And then big moment on the front, Dave. It looks like a few units went down for Avelo. And somehow a unit just died there. From red, I'm not sure what went down.
Okay, Eagles at the back, not really finding anything. It was, he traded a couple Eagles for a Mangonel, basically, is what happened at the front.
It's got such a choke here and a castle behind it, Avelo. Being patient, Dave. He's got 35 on food, which should lead to an insane imp time. And I think he's seen how low HP some of these knights are. He's going to engage again and trying to use the plumes for the monks and failing so far.
And the Scorpion's not firing.
Oof. Oh, and the micro, too. Look at the knights chase the plumes. The plumes could make it on back. The pikemen are owning, and this is when the villagers arrive, Dave. The wrong time.
It's the right idea, but at the wrong moment. And there's a huge blue army here. Red has no momentum at all now. It's kind of looking like Deadward Longshanks in this game 1.
Yeah, man. Velo is going to be happy to see that. I think we'll see the score at this point. If you see the score, you know you have to have an eco and a military lead. And now, Dave, you just chill. You just chill, you maybe drop a castle defensively, and you think about Imperial Age. Look at all these houses on the left side for both players. That's kind of unique.
Yeah, that was Blue's forward villager that he escaped to the left with.
Yeah.
Every time he hits that idle button, he just goes and builds another house, right?
Yeah, it's not bad if units are going to be patrolling, like right here. Velo might have patrolled forward, and I guess he'll realize when he needs the pike. When he has clicked up to Imp, and the GG is just called, Dave. Edward Longshanks realizes that the 2TC approach just did not pay off.
It feels like if he didn't go for that third TC at the back, like he was already on 2 TC for so long. If you go for the castle at that moment, instead of going for that third TC at the back, I feel like you have a chance.
Yeah.
But the economy advantage for Vilo was it was huge. And he managed to snowball it to victory. So well played there. Edward, he's going to have to pull something else out of the hat here for game number 2, because that was pretty convincing from a Vilo.
Well, we've seen what Edward's capable of. We've seen Edward lose a game in a series, win 3-1, and we know that Edward could have had slightly better execution here. So I think Velo is clearly shown that he's solid, but I don't think it's unrealistic for Edward to turn it around with a home map as long as the preparation's there. But yeah, he was on 2 TCs for such a long period of time, Dave, and to go to the third one when you're already behind by 20 villagers, it's the wrong level of commitment. Okay, people are saying rig. I'm sorry, people. And it's really good to know viewers are paying attention sometimes. Woo, man. And Dave, let's talk about those home maps now. Actually, before we do, I should probably show the statistics. And look at that boom. More wood, more food, more gold, and more stone. Home maps, though, because this is a fun one. Avelo's got some funky ones to work with, which we haven't really seen because Avelo has never lost. Edward has islands, and he landed last time on islands and bay.
So islands feels like Portuguese for me, and then bay, question mark here for Edward. What's the civ here?
I could see Malay working really well. So an approach.
But aren't you going to use Malay on bypass?
That's true. So maybe go Portuguese on islands, go Malay on bypass if it gets there, go Britons or Vikings on bay, and then go Tatars or whatever's left on slopes, if we're talking a 5-game series. But I think we're going to get back to meta picks here for islands anyways. It is game 2. We're going to hop in now to see islands. And while Avelo hasn't been picking islands, if you think it's the Viper, maybe pay attention to see what he's able to bring on islands, because Portuguese versus Italians, 2 of the best civs, Dave. We are about 13 seconds in. Edward Longshanks in the red, playing Portuguese. Velo Islands, or Velo Italians, excuse me. Before we talk about the civs, Dave, what are your thoughts on islands so far in Hidden Code 4?
I think we've had a good mix, right? I'd like to see a few more landings. But I think we've had a good mix of strategies so far. And I think that's only gonna get more and more diverse as we work our way towards the finals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting how many players we've seen pick it, but also how many players we've seen pick it and not go for that meta. Because historically, it was always players who would prefer to out-meta the enemy, and they'd pick islands, but Edward picked islands as a home map, and in the first round, went for a landing. So it's just not something you normally would expect from an islands picker. But in this matchup, Portuguese, they shape up quite well against Italians. I just feel Italians have all the early bonuses.
I feel like on islands, Portuguese is the anti-Vikings civ, right?
Yeah.
Any civ that can really go heavy on fire ships is going to be a civ that matches up decently well against Portuguese, and you're going to get those early advantages against Portuguese. It's just about snowballing those to a point where they can't use the Vittoria and they can't, outlast you.
Yeah. I think here, if Ivalo is Viper, or one of those big names that come to mind, I think we're going to see a side dock galley opening. Going into the tournament, I felt like side dock galley opening would be the way that the top names would play it. So I'm curious, and we see the villager now, Dave. It feels like a smart way to play it. You're a bit safer against a fire galley opening in feudal. You can protect your fishing ships if you're on the side and go directly into galleys to abuse your amazing micro. Would be sick.
Where's the dock position going to be for Edward? That's my question.
Looks like it'll be forward.
Front dock, okay.
Yeah. Which, in theory, does counter galley opening, because if you go forward fires, you can pressure them before the galleys are massed. There's a name that hasn't been guessed too frequently on all the forums and the subreddit and in Twitch chat, who is an absolute beast on islands, Dave, and his name is Dogao, and he beat the Viper in Hidden Cup 3 semifinals. In fact, destroyed him on islands. And I feel as though Dogao is flying under so many people's radars because he doesn't really have anything about him that sticks out. You know, he's just a full-on meta guy, and he's damn good at it, so...
Yeah, Dogao is always, the one that I have no idea, dude. Like, yeah. I've watched him a bunch of times, but there's nothing super unique about his playstyle. And at some points, he can play as well as the top guys.
Yeah.
And at other moments, maybe he doesn't play up to his name. So he's a really, really difficult one to pick.
Yeah. I asked Miguel, his teammate and good friend from Brazil, I said, Miguel, what can we look for Dogao? And Miguel said, and I quote, "No egg walls." So I think he means walling to the edge of the map instead of walling like, I don't know, MBL, like an egg. And he said, and full meta, nothing else. So if you see someone who's executing the meta virtually every game but doesn't have any like super standoutish traits, you're thinking Dogao. And Ivalo, truthfully, Dave, has kind of fit the bill there. For me, anyways.
Are we going to... We gotta be on the same page. Are we going the correct pronunciation?
Ivai. I'm sorry, Ivalo. I'm
okay.
Dude, I know that I should not be saying it the way I've been saying it, but for whatever reason, wait a second. Double dock in Dark Age. Look how much he has on wood, and he's just going mega fish boom here.
Maybe he's playing mind games with Edward. He's like, I'm Italians. You think I'm gonna go aggressive as Italians, so you're gonna keep your initial ships at home. But I'm going to go mega fish boom.
I mean, this is clearly a fast castle then. I mean, it has to be, but I have not seen fast castle with 2 dock fishing ships. That feels mega greed. And Dave, the beauty of Hidden Cup is that Ivalo couldn't look at the round 1 matches from Edward to see what he would do on islands, which was a landing, and that's exactly what Edward was planning on doing anyways. This could completely counter that greed.
It could counter the greed, but at the same time, if you're not going for water pressure, Tristan, you're not taking out that greedy fish boom from Ivalo, and he's going to have all that food in the bank. So there's the situation, potentially, where you land on Blue's island, you get the feudal pressure, and then suddenly Blue is in Castle Age, and you're going, oh god, what do I do?
That's a good point here. All right, did I really get screenshotted? Okay. This is my screenshot from Dave AOE's Twitch chat last night when Dave was going through. Ducks gets so many screenshots of things that we've said and done, and I still believe this, Dave. I still believe that Edward is backed, and here's the stable. Does Ivalo see this? Ivalo, excuse me.
Hey, I'm so proud of you. Oh my god.
Thank you. At least I'm improving and noticed it.
You've come so far. He does see it.
Yeah.
He's gonna wall right away.
Spotted it, and has loom, which is important.
Yeah, that was a really important decision from him to click that before clicking up to the next stage.
I mean, if you can get the walls down, that's great, but you can't take out the transport ship, can you? Because you're still not up. So...
Yeah, but transporting scouts, like, that feels... Here's a tower coming down from red now, and a barracks from Avilo.
We can debate later on who we think Edward is, but is it a surprise to you that someone's picked islands consistently and always goes for a landing?
Yeah, especially since Lix is out of the
Yeah.
is out of here. Now, the one problem I see here though for Avilo, that's his only lumber camp, Tristan, and he's forced to drop a barracks. He's having big wood issues. Like his food, his gold is gonna look good for this FC, but he's not gonna have enough to make the buildings.
You see that? Blue is thinking about a quick wall there to save the villager. That's a confident player right there. A lot of players just give up on that one. But it was a fail, so who knows what the fans will say now. And this is desperate times, man. And so far, the landing's paying off. Now, the fire ships need to come in, too. You actually have a forward dock. It's right next to the fishing ship. So there's a possibility, as another villager goes down, that this is working.
I feel like at this point, what Blue needs to do, get that second building down as quickly as possible. Just click up to the castle age, make some knights to clear this up, and then maybe think about a transport of your own to bring them over to red space.
The lack of wood is an issue. Do you want to make fires to defend your fish? Because if you do, then you don't get your blacksmith. You make your blacksmith.
I think the blacksmith should have been the priority there.
Okay.
You're floating so much res. Look, he's forced into the wood upgrade now. He's forced into the town watch. Like, you're floating so much. When you have an opportunity to go up, go up.
All right, Dave. Well, we can maybe see some stonks in chat to get Avilo up to the castle age. But it's messy here, and I have to say the landing is looking good so far, and the villagers have been brought around to make an archery range.
That was a misplay going for fires there, I think. I think that's, like, your fires are just going to delay. They're never going to win the water fight, right?
Yep.
You got to go for that second building.
Crazy, man. This is the greed we talked about. You can still see a much faster castle age. So the greed could pay off. You see the quick walls there from Edward. Boosts a scout, and I guess Avilo even made scouts, which is a bit unique. And we'll try and drop a tower here in front of the gold. Okay, Dave, on the way to Castle Age. Protecting the gold. Would seem somewhat secure. Not too bad. It's crazy how someone has a 4-0 eco KD and they're still behind in eco because of all these fishing ships in the back. I feel like Red probably assumes that whatever fishing ships were over there on the right was all of them. Oh, well, there's some running around now. Makes sense. But yeah, I might not assume if I were in his position that there's still fishing ships in the south. And villagers still there for Red. Red running around now. And it almost looks like Avilo is going to take out this tower, Dave, which really should have been walled in.
I'm so proud of you, man.
Dude, really it's such a struggle, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, imagine him being in Castle Age a minute ago, though. As he sends the villagers over to batter that tower down on the right. That's a nice play from Avilo.
I would like to see, in the next couple minutes, the War Galley upgrade for Avilo, and then a transport, and just transport a knight over to the enemy base. I feel like that is a perfect reaction to this.
Yep.
Yeah, fire did find the fishing ships in the south, Dave, but that's a nice little area to protect for now. We'll soon run out of food there, but it certainly worked out. In fact,
he looped the two fishing ships that are coming along the left-hand side. He looped those all the way around Edwards. If you look at like Avilo's scouting, there's a line all the way around the island.
What in the world?
And he
is
brought
that?
those home.
So weird. It feels like Avilo has so much confidence, you know? There's not many players who would just feel like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go greedy FC and get away with it because I'm good, you know? All right, well, the upgrades will come in about 20 seconds. So you'd expect Edward to start falling behind, and truthfully, Edward didn't do enough damage to really threaten Avilo. But you do see at home now a market, Dave, so probably will buy some food to go up to Castle Age.
I think he did a significant amount. Like he completely messed up his game plan, right?
Yeah, I mean, he did a significant amount against a greedy strategy, though, which still has paid off in some way, shape, or form. see a
He still
transport
has
here.
the villager there. He still has the archers, and the knights can't really clear that up. They can hop into the transport at any point. And once he gets to Castle Age and upgrades those to crossbows, he can just hop around this island.
Big moment here on water. I really like the forward dock idea. You know, that was something that Leloy did too, which was pretty fascinating to me because it's very unique. It's landing and forward dock. So maybe Leloy and Edward Longshanks are teammates. I don't know. Backed ACCM if this is indeed backed.
What was that? What was that red villager doing in the middle of Ilo's economy? I see a
Where?
body under his TC.
Wait, did he click it somewhere and then... Oh, I bet you he
don't
clicked
know.
it to the right, Dave. And the only way to get over there, because he walled it off, is to walk through the eco.
Oh, I guess that was the guy that was near that stable on the right.
Yeah, maybe
And
that
there's
was
still
it.
there's still a guy on the left side of the island. So there's still a presence here from Edward. He can make extra buildings in the Castle Age.
the-
Unless if Ilo wipes up that villager right now with the knight. No.
Yeah, the quick wall's there, Dave, but I'm more focused on the fact that fishing ships of all things have seen the Siege Workshop. to scout the Siege Workshop with fishing ships is just so weird to me. But oh no, the villager goes down, the quick wall wasn't there, and the archers will die to the knights now. Horrible for Edward. Just horrible, Dave. How
Wasn't
fishing
quite
ships
up to
too.
Castle Age fast enough, Edward. And now, yeah, he's going to get pushed back on water too.
The greed, man, really looking good. I mean, it's crazy how late the Castle Age time is in comparison. It's one of the many reasons why I still feel like Italians are #1 on water. Portuguese are good late. And a lot's made of them for their caravels and all that. But the fact that as that scout goes down, you're able to make that many fishing ships because they're so cheap and have the cheaper uptime to the next stage brings you to these spots right here. And now what if you're Edward? You don't have villagers, Dave. Do you still produce out of the range maybe, or just give up on it?
I think you give up on that range. Maybe you can make use of it later as like a surprise kind of thing. You keep
Okay.
the one archer garrison so that Avilo has to, give it some respect
Yeah.
and maybe send something to deal with it. But I think right now, probably a siege workshop and maybe try and fight your way back on water.
Okay. Yep. You've got to start with water certainly, and maybe go monk defense if that's an option for you. You could actually just go for a knight. There's no monks for Ivalo. Or Ivalo. What is wrong with me? And of course this person's going to make the semifinals, right? It couldn't have been Edward, having the 1-0 lead here and the lead in game 2. Has to be this one. Thank you, whoever you are.
Well, I think Edward went for the monks first instead of the siege because he knew the knights would be coming over
True.
at some point.
Yeah.
And here's the 4 knights. If he gets one conversion, he could potentially wipe out that Mangonel.
Oh,
But
and
only one knight and only one monk and 4 knights.
that doesn't get the conversion there, Dave. Now, this is gold that's really important for Edward. So he has to make a siege workshop now. He is going to stay on 2 TCs. He's trying to remain competitive on water. But I just feel as though his eco, as he will get 1 conversion, 2 should come in here. There we go. 2 conversions are good. He takes out the Mangonel, but it's definitely reached that point where Ivilo does not seem to care, as I think his eco is just going to be super clean behind this, and he is on 2 TCs now. 54 eco against 47.
Oh, that knight squeaked through that TC too.
Ooh.
It's just so many annoying little things when we're talking about landings on islands.
Yep.
Stuff like one weak knight can cause so much trouble for your eco.
It's rather ironic that the player who would always go for landings is now struggling with some type of a landing. I think is a great way of counterattacking and just keeping the focus from red on land as the water is still controlled. I like the fishing ships on the left side, Dave. It's such a small thing, but it helps so much to get that food income. And it's just so unfortunate that Edward has fires there and can't see the fishing ships.
If you're in Edward's position, it must feel really bad for him because you're thinking like, what can I do?
Yeah.
I don't have a presence on his island anymore. He's got a presence on mine, and I'm so far behind in terms of water control. How do I take this game back?
Well, he's not super behind in water control. It's 9 on water versus 3. It feels like Blue's just being greedy. You know, as you see the Mangonel go down, they're good defense for Edward. There's definitely an opportunity if Edward is able to get the War Galley upgrade that he could still remain competitive on water. I'm rather surprised that Ivailo has not continued to pressure water, but I think he's going to mop this up here in a second.
He stole the relic from Edward's island.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, yep, there it is. But Edward really should be patrolling these. Oh, wow, okay. I don't know how I knew that was going to happen there, but... And now he finds some fishing ships, Dave. That's not awful. And here's Red's transport, which I guess he'd forgotten about, so that every little bit helps here.
I'm amazed at the amount of fishing ships that Blue produced.
Yeah, so many. I'm getting Dogao or Viper vibes, because I know Dogao is the type to really value fishing here and be greedy and be strong. Remember, he's top 4 in Hidden Cup 3.
Is Ivailo going to add a dock of his own on Edwards Island? I think he's considering it.
On the corner there? Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's a nice choke to protect, actually. It's 90, not military, excuse me, population against 71. But the big thing here is it is 80 eco versus 57, with Italians having the lead. You would expect that Italian player will make it to the Imperial Age much faster.
Yeah, we're always talking Italians versus Portuguese. You got to kill the Portuguese before they get to that late game stage, right?
Yep. And here's a castle now for Ivailo, and there's no way to deny that with fire ships, so that's going to go up. That will take care of that pesky dock. You have to give Edward credit, Dave. He's really been annoying with that dock. That's on 92 HP, and he's consistently producing out of it.
Yep. And the forward villager for Ivailo. He just kind of he's walling in the monk, Tristan. No way. There's no way, dude.
But wait a second. Don't attack it after. Don't wall yourself in with the monk, because if you attack it, it's going to get converted. Don't. You think you're masterpiecing, but if you actually attack here, you're screwed.
I'm just gonna hang that. Look, he's trying to get out, man. Let me out.
Oh my God. Edward noticed it, baby. Edward noticed it, and now that villager just made his own prison. That's something. All right, well, fire engagements in the middle, Dave. Again, Edward still remaining competitive on water. Got 8 on water against 9, based on what I'm seeing here on the overlay. And I just haven't been overly convinced with Ivailo's ability to close out from this position. And look at Edward. Edward's going to click up to Imp faster, Dave.
How is that even possible?
Because Ivailo's been slacking a little bit, I feel. Like, I've been waiting for it. There we go. There's the click up.
He's getting infantry armor, too. Is he considering landing again and going maybe Condottieros?
I could see Ivailo misjudging the situation, thinking that he can just land to win the game, and then having Edward come onto water right now and stop the transport and then overwhelm. I could see it happening. But
how did those 2 monks in the Mangonel make it to Blue's Island?
I think he transported them back.
Okay.
Yeah. I think.
Well,
wait. Oh, castle. These guys. Oh, whoa. I don't.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking. Okay.
Dude, there's a reason I asked the question. It's because they're completely out of place. There's like fire ships all around. I don't know how a transport snuck its way there, but look at the transport in the middle. Edward is getting a castle down there.
Dude, you can't. I don't know what it is, but you have to take every player here seriously as another villager gets converted by monks. Now he's got a villain on your island, Ivailo. That's a little tough to stomach, I'd say, after getting such a big lead, Dave. And even a big demo in the middle for Edward.
Yeah. Yep. Ivailo made a couple scouts, though. He's coming over to the monks, but look at the play from Edward. Oh, my God. Tristan, look, please.
I see it. He just house walled in the monks. I would absolutely love it. And I don't think a lot of people will say it in chat. If everyone's mind just switched from Ivailo being Viper to Edward. With that moment right there, as that monk sinks, Edward gaining some fans, Dave. And this is a competitive game. It's 100 pop versus 110 right now. And I am a little speechless, not going to lie to you. And the longer this game goes, the more you favor Portuguese, Dave.
Yep. And he's brought himself, he's brought himself to a good position. I still don't know if I would favor it just because of the economic advantage for Vilo. But definitely brought himself back into this game for sure.
Well, what's nice about that castle, and there's downsides to it, like that can be trebbed from the shoreline for blue. But what's nice about the castle, as we still see some presence over here I'll pay attention to, is simply the fact that you can pull galleons back into the choke against fire ships. Okay, looks like the villager and the monks are going to get cleared. That's rather funny, but you know what I mean, Dave. You don't have to fight the fires in open water anymore. You just pull them to the side, and that could be nice for the next couple moments.
Yep. Caravel's not really an option here either for the Portuguese player.
Yeah.
Until you see your opponent massing galleons. Caravels really struggle against fire ships.
Yep. Normally, the meta is to go fast fire and shipwright, and then galleon. Shipwright makes all your everything pretty much cheaper on water, of value at this stage. And that's not something that's realistic for Edward. That is realistic for Italians because Ivilo has greater economy, but also because shipwright is discounted. And I like the castle positions. The middle one will probably get trebbed down, but he's still taking some gold, and I do like the castle position on the right side for red.
Yeah, kind of holding that area. He can dock all the way along that shoreline and be fairly secure, and obviously can't be trebbed down at that spot.
Look in the north, Dave. Look what has already been built. One Feitoria and a second Feitoria, ladies and gentlemen. These cost 250 stone, 250 gold. They give you a trickle of every single resource, but they eliminate 20 pop space apiece. And I personally feel that 2 might even be too much here. The trickle's so slow that you can really struggle to get the numbers out. So we'll see.
Yeah, the biggest impact is just your pop space. Like you can see, he's already housed, and he's got a second one going up right now.
Yeah, and even just placing it hurts your pop space. I think heavy demo is normally what you'd want to see here from Edward's
Demos
position.
would be great if you had pop space for them.
That's true. I guess the bright side of making demos right now is that you get your pop space back after one goes down. So, but yeah, that castle on either side very helpful. Can't help but feel like, again, a Vilo maybe being a little too cautious about pushing here, Dave.
Edward's even getting treadmill crane. Does he want to like force the castle up somewhere?
I'd love to see bombard towers at some stage. They do cost gold, so you probably don't want to do it now, but
yeah,
towering...
with Victorias, you could. Like it's definitely an option because normally you run out of stone, you run out of gold, but if you have the Victorias.
Oh.
And blue is going for a landing up there in the north and in the west too.
Whoa, where did this come from? An immediate gate city over here from Edward. What a reaction there, Dave, to get those gates down. This is for a Condottiero raid.
Yep. But is this a bait? That's my question. He thinks he's got it. He's given him, a false sense of security. Meanwhile, on the west side of the island, 3 more barracks coming up.
See, that can be spotted as well. You do have chemistry if you're Edward, so you could... Oh, wait, no, you can make cannons against Condottieros. I forgot. They're actually supposed to counter gunpowder, so it's an extremely awkward situation to counter with Portuguese. And there's just villagers everywhere.
Look at okay, red is running out of space here, Tristan. He's walled off that barracks on the north completely. He's walled off the ones in the east completely, but he's opened the gate and now the condos are in.
Yeah. And now the fires and the galleons are coming. The castle in the middle has gone down. Military count's pretty even here. And this is now a fight about land, and it's probably just the recognition from Ivilo to say, let's push before the Fetorias really kick in.
And blue has 3 trebs on his island and a transport ship ready to go. So I don't know where he's going to bring those. He did eliminate the castle in the middle.
Yep.
So he's going to move those to maybe that middle island. I don't know. That's kind of risky.
Look at this castle going up with 2 villagers. Poor Edward has patrolled into the buildings. He moves a little closer. He denies that and maybe takes out the barracks too.
Yep.
The Navy's looping around, and that transport there could go down with all the villagers. Yeah, transport does go down for Vilo. And still a decent mass for him in the middle, but military pop is what you want to focus on here. It's very even, just a lot on land for Vilo.
Yeah, once he gets some siege to support the condotieros, it could be really nice. But the galleons took out the siege workshop on the left.
Oh my god,
Tristan,
but the castle
and
goes
they're
up.
still not hitting the villagers building the castle. It goes up with 2 villagers.
He better notice that, though, because that's 11 galleons that he needs.
Yeah.
And now the transport from Avilo on the right peninsula. That looks like a YouTube thumbnail right there, you know? That's going to take down that castle, and that's another raiding avenue, perhaps. But he needs to treb down those Fetorias. The crossbows are doing a decent job of taking care of the condotieros. They have to be very careful you don't run out of resources when up against Portuguese.
He lost all of those ships on the left.
I know. That sucks. And I guess he's just so distracted. Look at his island, man. Everything's blinking. He doesn't know where to look right now, but he's still trying, as he should.
I feel like it's kind of a strat here from Blue. Like every time you see a house, kill it. You know, you've killed 2 castles. Like if you see a house, like raise that thing to the ground, because he's got Fetorias. He's going to be struggling for pop space.
Of course, it's just because there's Portuguese, but I think that Avilo needs to start really applying the killer blow here. And here he goes, Dave. He's got 28 galleons. There's actually 28 for Edward, so that's an even fight with more reinforcements coming in. Do you treb down the Fetorias, Dave? Do you treb down the TCs? What do you choose?
Go for the
here?
houses. Go for the houses.
And the villagers, the villagers are rioting here. I think Avilo is Burgundian, right? Is he not Burgundian? I think he's Burgundian. It's the Burgundian Revolution here. Flemish Revolution, anyways.
He's not
Burgundian?
No, he's like Slavic, dude.
Is it Bulgarian? Bulgarian, Burgundian, same potato. Same difference. I tried my best, all right? At least appreciate the effort, viewers. Sorry.
That transport ship just got away with 2 HP.
I don't even know which transport you're
It
talking
had a
about
monk
right
with
now,
a relic
Dave.
in it from the middle.
Well, I'm more focused on this right side right now, but yeah, that relic is on the way home now, and that will be 4, I imagine, for Avilo, and it is. Lots of villagers just went down. The Fetorias are still there, but you can see the problem. When you don't have actual eco, Dave, your resources are just not looking too hot. Great engagement from the condos there.
Yeah, the condos are finally finding some value, and that was a lot of villagers chasing that treb into the galleon fire. And now that Woodline's being harassed, there's a castle going down on the west side of Edward's Island. There's no wood he can take anymore.
Yeah.
There's none.
And Fetorias only work so well. And I am just getting some vibes here. Some familiar vibes. I think Avilo could have gone full-on water meta, Dave, and wanted to spice it up a little bit for us. Even getting redemption now for monks to convert some siege. Okay.
That's weird.
That is
Where's the
rather
siege
weird.
from red? Where is it?
It's like he's thinking ahead to eventually convert some. Look at this. We have cannon galleons coming in on this left side for Avilo. He's got everything.
We've got 50 villagers for red.
Yeah, he probably sees his pop as 130, and he thinks this is fine. But it's just the Fitoria population, because he's got 3 of them. And yeah, he calls the GG, and the game ends. Avilo goes up 2-0, looking very, very strong, Dave.
That was, especially after the start when he lost a couple villagers to the scouts, and he was delayed in going to Castle Age. He recovered from that very, very well. Like, really, really good job from Avilo.
I agree with you. However, I feel like with the lead that Avilo had, it was rather unconvincing to close that out mid to late Castle Age and early Imp, just for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to start to win this now. We faked the viewers out enough. Let's finish this off. Getting some vibes, dude. I'm getting some vibes. Now, I've got PTSD because I've been faked out by a certain snake before. But maybe it is him. Undefeated so far, Avilo. And Edward Longshanks will need to find some type of a response here. Economically, Dave, perhaps no surprise. Avilo with more of every resource except for stone, and that's probably just because the Fetorias has brought in some stone near the end there.
I think Edward could have done a lot better of a job. I don't think he suspected the second dock on the left side of Avilo's island. He could have done a much better job when he had the water advantage initially of killing the fishing ships.
True.
So many of those survived from Avilo.
That's a good point. Yeah. Edward, there's been shades of success. Game 1, 2, Dave, where it's looked clean and just a few decisions here or there lacking. Vilo more solid overall, thus the 2-0 scoreline. And now we will see Bay coming up. And I think what Civilization has chosen here heavily depends on the approach. Britons, for me, almost feel stronger than Malay here, Dave. Despite Malay being more the water civ, I've seen a lot of people have success with competing for water with Britons, but just trying to get map control with the crossbows later on. And then, do you think Lithuanians or Mongols for Bay? Because I think both could be strong for Evilo.
I want to say Mongols, but that's because the majority of the Bay games I've watched were from Hidden Cup 3.
Yeah.
And Mongols were like a go-to pick there, right?
Okay.
I don't really know how Lithuanians are going to fare because I haven't seen many games with them.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, only one way to find out here. Game number 3 is on Bay or Pants. Thank you, chat. A lot of the subs out there using that Viper emo, thinking that Evilo might be Viper. That's cool. I don't know, Dave, but I do know that Evilo is very good, and certainly if someone's undefeated, certain names come to mind. Okay, I have launched, but Capture Age is catching up, so I am about 30 seconds in here. And I actually have to swap the colors because it looks like I guess Edward hosted this time around, so I can easily do this with Capture Age Pro. And we just do a little boom. There you go. Solves that problem. Again, Edward in the red has chosen Malay Dave, and it's Lithuanians for Evilo. Look how early that scout's going forward for Edward here. Not the first time we've seen that today. Try and steal some resources.
He just missed the pigs, too.
That's so unfortunate.
He missed all 3.
And now he's going to run into the TC? No? Okay.
He missed the 2 that were nearby, and then he missed that 3rd one, but he ends up getting it in the end. But I think Evilo is going to find that again.
He's missing it. These pigs are so evasive. Look at it. It's just sitting there, too. Now he's going to run further away naturally to find it. I know pig, as Vivi said many years ago. It's just going to sit there. That's 300 IQ. Now, that boar is lameable, Dave, but you notice how Evilo is just hanging out. He knows he's got to be careful. The scout's around. And now he receives a hit. Okay, strong start for Edward.
Yep. And you can see already the bonuses of picking Lithuanians on a water map. Dock is already going up for Evilo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just to explain that for viewers at home, you start with extra food with Lithuanians. So you can justify sending villagers to wood a bit earlier, which leads to an earlier dock, and that leads to an eco lead, Dave, that ends up being massive. And perhaps needed here against Malay because Malay advanced faster to the next stage, so I think you need a bit of a boost.
Credit to Edward for such great scouting of his base with just the pigs.
Yeah?
Like, he spent so much time over at Evilo's base, and he's found all his resources just with his, like, that one pig.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. And I think he does not want to steal the boar. He wants to wait and try and block. And let's see if Evilo will notice this. He's going to get the hit, Dave. And honestly, I think that, yeah, you've just got to give up on this one. That's too close to the TC. Good work from both players to realize what they need to do there. I mean, a lame would be suicide here, right? If you try and steal that boar.
Yeah, it's too far.
Okay.
I think. And Evilo's going to know it's going to be stolen. You don't have eyes on Evilo's scout. It could be in the way. Like, I think it's just too risky. But Evilo is doing the right thing. And he's hanging out near the shoreline.
Oh, man. So unfortunate, man. He was looking for the Dockville and could have sniped her. But Edward wisely walls her in. And we'll place that dock. And so far, players have not taken big damage. Wonder if Evilo will have to send the scout back to deal with this, though. This is awkward. Getting Loom. Here's the Vil. The boar's chasing now, and the boar's stopped, which is really unfortunate for Edward. And Edward just goes in for the kill, but now loses more scout HP. Loom is in. The blocking's here. This is definitely a player who realizes he's being outclassed, so he's trying to get an edge in the quick wall there from Evilo. And that just stops the boar in his tracks. The confidence, the control with the simplest things, Dave. What a play. All right.
I think there's only a few players there that go for a palisade over that boar
instead of a house.
I think I think house is the much more common trick because it's easier to execute, right?
Yep. All right. Edward weakens the boar with the TC. I think people
Look
might
at the
be
fishing
getting...
difference. This is Lithuanians right here, the advantage.
He also added a lot in the previous game. I have not seen players adding this many fishing ships. I've seen 4 in Fast Feudal, but it's almost like the approach for Vilo is, if I lose my fishing ships, I don't care. I'm gonna chop wood, and I can just make more later on. 6 fishing ships is crazy.
God, it's looking more and more like the snake, isn't it?
It is, dude. I'm getting it. Like, I didn't have it. I needed to see another set because you never know who people are up against in a 3-0. But we're starting to see some bits of flair here, and I think what's actually made me think it is the snake more than anything is the fact that he's gone a bit over the top in some ways with greed. And we know he can get away with it. So
I'm thinking either, like, right now what's running through my head is either the first set against King Bella, I said yo. I was pretty sure Evila was yo. But now after watching this one, I'm thinking either Viper or potentially Leary as well.
Leary's a tough one. Many people think that Leary might be coming up against Hera later based on the community predictions. But some players are really easy to spot. Some players not. We had Sanjata earlier. Sanjata is an absolute god earlier. That could be a few of the names we mentioned. But certainly, whoever Evilo is, looking strong here, looking clean, Dave. And faster feudal than Malay, but Malay very competitive here. And the Malay player is going for 2 docks against 1 dock fires.
Yeah, we were talking about the Lithuanian advantage. Well, here is the Malay advantage. You can be behind in economy, and you'll catch up with that faster age up time. He went up with no loom, too.
Interesting, okay. Well, loom's now coming in. Actually, the villager on the gold could get picked. And the nice quick wall here. Make no mistake, Edward is a beast, man. 1-3-1 the first round. Played amazing. I think maybe had a slightly better series, certainly with results, but I mean in terms of the Arabia game and whatnot in the first round. But still, that scout's very weak for Edward and it's just passing. This is going to be about water for now, Dave, and I can't help but feel like it's another situation where Vilo says, I'm going to lose fish, whatever, but at least I'm going to get as much food as possible before I do. Really unique. And even going for galleys, Dave, to maybe just give up water but snipe the enemy fish before he loses his own.
Yeah, if you make like 2 of those, keep them in your dock, ungarrison, and then just run around, you can kill those 3 fishing ships pretty easily.
And then you've got a forward villager. Now, Vilo was scouting a moment ago, and if you look at that scouting, did not see any walls. I think Vilo is going to try and be super cheeky, which should never work, and try and sneak a villain to the back corner, Dave. Look at the scouting. He wants to sneak. That's not going to work here, man. Yeah, just realized that's not going to work either. And it's just going to make the range on the front now.
Range on the front. The only exposed resource here is the berries for Edward. So it's not like he can pick a bunch of villagers. But definitely getting that down and getting that forward pressure is going to be really nice for him, especially since he effectively lost water.
Yeah. So the reaction for Edward is always to add more fishing ships here and to feel very good about yourself. And now look at Evalio. He's going to take the fires to the left with the fishing ship. I don't know how many he waits for here, Dave. He could be more patient than this, but just 1 dock galleys is, again, not something we've seen too frequently.
Laming the stone.
Okay. I mean, the Ville's there. So why not? But it does... Wait a second. If the outpost is there... Are you kidding me? The outpost won't even see it, so never mind. It doesn't really show that unless the archer shows up. And surprise, it's there.
There's the archer. He's going to know, and that archer will most likely attack. Yep, and let him know even more. And the galleys are coming out now. Galleys are out from the dock now. These galleys will 2-shot a fishing ship.
Okay, that's 2 down. Trying to micro some of the weak ones away. So far, I mean, it's definitely worth it in a sense, but it hasn't been as good as I was maybe expecting there. The fires against galleys still proving to be strong. I could see Malay bailing Edward Longshanks out a little bit, just like we saw the competitive feudal age times. We could see competitive castle age times, despite the current food counts.
Mm-hmm.
Then you just make your own archers to clear this. Ilo's kind of spreading his out, which can lead to awkward situations where you don't have a mass.
Oh, Ilo. He's got the auto scout running, I'm pretty sure.
Really? Is that really auto scout at this stage of the game?
It went back to the far right corner. So
No
unless he
way.
thinks there's a villager there.
It's gotta be. Ducks, can we please get the auto scout stats on screen? This would be the time to use the auto emote too, if you are a sub here. Auto scout is a button that was introduced with DE. There's actually a lot of controversy over it, as we see this galley microing, where you just press it and it scouts for you. But it's not the most efficient scout, Dave, but it will scout everything that's available if you press that button. And I guess, I don't know if the stats are going to come up on screen, but we had a bunch of stats from rated games. And Viper uses auto scout the most frequently at something like 65% of games, which was 30 or 40% higher than second place. Crazy. And it really sucks to not have berries right now, I'd say, if you're Edward.
Sucks to not be able to complete that market either.
Yeah, what's going on here? He has his own range
She looped
units.
that 1 HP villager, got away from the left-hand side, looped all the way around, and is hitting the market from the other side now.
Okay, yeah, there she is. And here we go. Now, no fletching makes this weird to me. If the enemy has fletching, wouldn't you want that yourself here? Especially if you think it's a really big name? But that's just poor, in my opinion, to fight. I mean, let's see what comes out of this, Dave. But you would have cleared this easily with fletching. I don't understand that too much. But maybe just wants to save resources to go up. And is about to click up. And, whoa, what is that? Okay. Yeah, Viper 62% with auto scout. I like how Velez is there. It's like, nope. We could have done better with that production quality. My apologies. That looks horrible.
I know exactly what that is, dude. That's in the background. Dux is like, I just have a Google sheet. Damn, what do I do? What do I do? And you're like, Dux, get it up on screen. He's like, what do I do? We'll just do the Google sheet.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much it. Look at these times, though. This is why Malayer picked on this map, Dave. Despite Edward being behind in some aspects, which you could argue he's ahead because of the eco lead, and is ahead because of the eco lead, still on the back foot, and that's why I'm just feeling kind of down in the dumps for Edward right now. So Edward's going to have to push this back. Forward control for Ilo could do quite well long term.
Yeah, Vilo is going to be Castle Age first, and he's going to... Or sorry, Edward's going to be Castle Age first. Yeah. I got the colors all mixed up here. But Vilo is going to be right behind him, and Edward will have crossbow in beforehand.
The eco KD, Dave, is exactly even. The eco numbers much higher for Ivilo. The archers are now, or not for Ivilo, for Edward. And now you see the siege workshop being denied. The archers going down. And I think the only reason as a villager was just sniped there, congratulations, Ivilo, but the only reason that I've really had this tone of poor Edward is just because of the dominance from his opponent. But he's still in this game, and he'll be on 2 TCs.
Yeah, and Ivilo is going for his second TC, actually third TC,
okay.
Out on that gold, a little bit farther out there, and he has the forward stable. Unfortunately for him, if he wants to defend at home with knights, it's going to be a little bit more difficult if you have that stable that far forward.
I'm not loving the eco for Vilo right now. You look at it, you're seeing 3 TCs, but he doesn't have the food economy to keep 3 TCs running. In fact, I'll toggle back here so you can see what the idle TC time looks like in a few minutes. I do like the value from the scout, and Edward says I can do it too. Wow, that was sick. That was one of the best quick walls we've seen in this tournament so far.
Dude.
And now, of course, the villager dies, but still.
Yeah, we're talking about a Vilo being Viper, and then Red pulls out stuff like that.
It's almost like everyone can do the things we talk about.
So the siege workshop did go up forward. Now villagers survived. The knights pushed out the knight from red that was there, and siege workshop is up. The crossbows are also in on the monastery, but there's knights coming from behind from Avilo.
Yeah, it's, I think sending 5 forward. This is probably, again, this is why I justify thinking it's backed. He's known for sending small groups forward to try and get Vil pickoffs. And there, I'd like to see this knight saved, and it will be. There, I just don't think that was a great move. The knight's going to get healed up. And, oh! Okay, there you go. Avilo? Hello? Loses a knight.
I love how demos have, like, no collateral damage, right? Like, that crossbow bleeding out.
Is this going to be micro back?
Sit right next to that demo the entire time and be fine.
Yeah, or like certain things don't catch on fire, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I guess it'd be too realistic if a crossbow, the demo goes off next to you and then your crossbow's clothes catch on fire. Start shedding his clothes as he runs. Oh man, well, wheelbarrow on the way now, Dave. You've got 2 TCs. No third TC yet for Edward, but it's a healthy 2 TCs. And what do you think about staying 2 TCs and just trying to get fast Imperial Arbalest here?
The problem I see here with Edward is that I think he thinks he needs to do damage.
Okay.
Like, why go out with those 5 crossbows so early? Why go out with this small number as the knights just pass and go right to the monks here?
Oh my goodness, and it's conversions and a half there. I mean, at least it was consistent in that instance. And he split them up on 2 different knights there, and he says, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And now the knights come over here, Dave, in the attack round from Avilo, but now that there's 2 knights here, the Mangonels are completely going to be out of the picture. What a play for Edward, and what great micro here, too. Look at that split.
Now, I think this is a good clear-up, but I think Edward needs to think about massing his army and going to Imp, like you said, rather than trying to push across the map, because all you've seen is full walls and knights from Avilo, right? You haven't seen any open areas you could maybe do damage. You haven't seen any opportunities to do damage, so why not just build towards your ideal composition? Why press the issue?
I think, and it seems like such a small thing to bring up, but I think that he should patrol that scout on the belt region of this map, because the longer this goes, the more the Lithuanian player is going to go out for relics. And if you patrol your scout there, these monks, okay, that's a villager, never mind. Here's a monk, and another monk. They're going to get the relics. Very fast conversion times for Edward, who, as Malay, has even added fish traps right now. I'm really liking the food situation.
Yeah, his economy's looking good, but once again, map control, super important on this map, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't have much of it.
I think that he's really worried about these buildings causing him problems, but with the amount of crossbows he has, all that Avilo has is 2 knights, Dave. So you should actually be going forward with your monks and crossbows. This is, again, just greed from Avilo, and he's going to try and defend from this. Going for a 4th TC, and he's actually tech switching back on the water.
Yep.
And he's adding archer ranges for probably skirmishers.
Like 2 fire ships, if you wait till you have 2 fire ships here, you can wipe up this entire water. I don't agree with necessarily sending them in one at a time. But if you wait, you can surprise him, take out all the fish traps, that big investment, and take back that water control.
Run! Run, buddy, run! Ah! Oh.
Dodge, dip, duck, dive, and...
Die.
All
right, well, he's dead. But I don't think a skirm transition was really something that Edward was expecting. He might be expecting the greed with knights. Now, granted, the upgrades aren't really in, so the crossbows just kill everything here, no problem. I kind of wish Edward was on stone at the moment, Dave, because with this much map control, dropping a castle right on Avilo's face would be sick. But we are going to see fast imp. I like the call.
Yeah, fast imp seems like the only option you have with Malay here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you get to Arbalest. The enemy's stuck in Castle Age. The enemy will have more Vils now because of the TCs, but you see fishing ships going down. That is a really unique play again on Bay. We haven't seen players trying to get a dock back up on water too frequently.
You were saying about the forward castle drop. One reason he couldn't have gone for that is because the stone got lamed.
True.
So
True. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird spot right now. For here comes the scout. Get it. Okay, it's dead. Bit of a weird spot. for Vilo because he's getting all these relics, but Knights won't do anything against Arbs. So it's really all about the skirm numbers, and if he can delay until his eco kicks in and Imp. I think this will be Arbalest Bombard Cannon, one of the most devastating compositions in early Imperial, especially on this map.
Yeah, if you can get momentum. Kind of stalls out after a while, right?
And your monastery's forward too, so even if the relics are a big deal here, I mean, that is the #1 target.
Ooh, this castle from Avilo is screaming Viper at me. It's like it's calling my name in the middle of the night, whispering Viper.
Oh man, dude. What about this skirm engagement? Is this screaming Viper losing skirmishers?
Not
That's an okay
particularly.
trade, right? That's an okay trade. I mean, you've what? You've lost 10 units. You kill 2. That's very Viper-esque, I'd say.
Just like most players would have put that castle forward, ish.
Yeah.
That one
Yeah.
secures so much more, right?
Yep.
And he's
Stalling.
banking on the fact he's gonna win the long game.
Yep. Just gonna stall it out. And now we see the ranges. You know, another thing that is Viper-esque is when he makes his ranges, there's always a 1-tile gap between them, and they're normally in a straight line. Do you notice how they're just 1 tile off?
Yep.
That there's something fishy about this, man, and I
A
don't
lot of DM players do that though. A lot of players who have experience with DM do that.
But if you notice, there's 3 ranges. 2 are in a straight line and then 1 tile off. 2 are in a straight line, 1 tile off. That is... I don't know. But you do see the Arbs pushing here. And I'm just wondering how big of a follow-up there's going to be from Edward. And for now, if Ilo is 1 minute away from getting the upgrades, Dave, you have a Ram coming in here. This is dangerous. This is very dangerous for Avilo, who has not lost a game yet in this tournament.
It's dangerous, but it's also risky for Edward. Because there's a lot of skirmishers in those archer ranges.
Yeah.
If you lose your initial mass of Arbalest, your push slows down to a crawl, basically. And then once you're not putting pressure on the person who probably has the superior economy, then you're gonna lose the long game.
And protect your numbers. I wonder if we see that unique tech for Avilo first thing. I don't even remember the cost of it, but the unique tech can be huge for the trashings for Lithuanians. The skirms are very fast. I don't like engaging before Cap
He's
Ram
gonna
comes
clear.
in.
He's gonna kill this whole army here. He's gonna kill it all.
Thinking the same. Look at that. Repair, hop in the TC, so annoying. And there's the unique tech, Dave. Tower shields. These skirmishers are going to be unkillable. Oh, no.
It's so slow to go bombard cannon. Chemistry takes so long, and he needed siege behind this earlier.
Yep. And if you had 2 or 3 bombard cannons, you're still not really able to push. You're still sitting in the middle and running away, and oh, these skirmishers are so strong. No, Edward, what great patience, though. Whoever he is, what great patience from Avilo, Dave. And I guess you see barracks now for maybe 2-handed swordsman, but this is a point where the Malay player really doesn't have any strong units to work with, and Paladin could always be on the thought or on the mind for Avilo.
Mangonel comes out, can't get a shot, of course, of Ilo.
Ooh.
We've seen his quality all day. I say that, and then he gets a shot.
Yep. What I was saying with the first round is, it's not like quite perfection, you expect some splits here or there, but the decision-making, Dave, forget about the small little moments. Just the decision-making has been solid in every game we've seen from Avilo.
Stables in the left corner, too. He's got a villager
Now
up
look,
there.
1 tile gap between them. If that 3rd stable's off by a tile, I'm going to scream. You got to think there's going to be another stable. Again, that would be a real trend. I'm waiting. If Edward even continues to play on when he sees Cavalier here.
Well, the 2 stables in the left corner of the map aren't separated, so...
All right, I think I'm looking too much into it. Honestly, the fact, Viper, if you're watching, the fact that you straight up admitted that you would try and fake us out with small stuff after Hidden Cup 3 is in my brain right now. Bothering me. All right, anyways, Dave, what can Edward do? We're talking a lot about who these players are. Is there anything Edward can do in this Civ matchup to win this game?
I like the Ram decision from him. You can see he's going into Rams right now. Bombard cannons didn't really work out for him. But Rams with the Arbalest behind, potentially he could get a good push.
Okay.
He's just gotta he's gotta be worried about the raids, right? And here they come. Here
Yeah.
come the Cavaliers.
Yeah, you don't have any mobility right now. You're now going to shift to have to play defensive because of this small little base in the side. The farm count isn't super high for Vilo. Be honest there, but the attack is high because a +4 attack from having 4 relics. 5 now, actually, but you don't get +5. The skirms are going down. It's not really clean, but it's something he can afford to throw away as he's castling elsewhere, Dave.
Look at the trade that the skirms got, right? They have 10 pierce armor,
Yeah.
Tristan.
And just a few cav around, so...
Is that hill forts?
Hill
for
forts.
the Lithuania player?
Hill forts, yes. That will give your TCs extra range. Now, if we see a TC rush...
But why?
Score lead, I guess?
Maybe. Does he think he's playing like Red Bull right now? Boost the score?
Oh, God. Yeah, I kind of feel for Edward because he probably... I mean, he won the first round, and he has played really well in this series. He probably just recognizes he's up against it here. You know, as a player, like, the worst feeling is not being able to do anything with fast ARP and then being on the back foot. It's so tough to ever stabilize, especially on a map like this where you have to expand. You can't do that with 0 mobility.
And hand cannons now. So he's anticipating the pikeman switch.
I guess. Is this another game, as we actually saw some units go down there, is this another game where Vilo has just chilled out instead of going for the killing blow?
Kind of feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah. It definitely feels like that. Edward's probably just waiting, like, kill me, man. Kill me. All right. Well, we see additional stables now.
The map control for blue is insane. Like, he's got
insane.
a TC in the corner. He's got a TC in the north. He's got all these buildings all over the place. He's got units all over the place scouting.
Hand cannons just tossed away. No micro. I refuse to be tricked. I refuse to fall for it.
Those Cavalier in the back of red space, too. Yeah. Oh, this is going to be so painful, man.
Yeah, soon to be Paladinos. And he's got an Arbalest there. Even if you patrol Halbs back here, it takes forever, Dave. Skirm and Paladin just destroys everything Malay can make, except maybe elephants. Which we won't see here. Feel like if Ilo is just playing with his food right now, truthfully. And I think maybe when Paladin's in after this engagement, well, there's a lot of Halbs there. Yeah, maybe the moment comes soon where Edward realizes there's no way this is going to change for me. And Paladin's in now. We have the strongest Paladins in the game after the relics are collected. Is he missing a blacksmith upgrade? He doesn't have a single blacksmith upgrade in attack, actually. So that's
Who
not
needs
true.
it?
Yeah.
You got 4 relics. You're fine.
That's a little weird. Okay. Hand cannons here. Hand cannons with skirmishers on the Arbalest and the Halberdiers. Paladins should freely engage if they want to and win that fight, I'd say. But you also could just raid, which is continuous, Dave, from this left side.
You could just... This group of Paladin could wipe up anything that red has on the map right now. You could even just build up 20 more and go for one giant fight, and you snowball your way to victory.
Yeah. All right. Feel like for a while, Avilo is maybe taking that foot off the gas, just chilling out here. There is a TC going up for Edward, and in Edward's position, you've made it to the second rounds. You want to continue to fight here. There have been players that have brought it back from being down 2 games, so there's no reason with 150 pop to really call the GG, but he's certainly thinking it, and I think we're getting closer and closer, Dave.
Yeah.
Forging it, at least.
And Halbs, while they're cost-effective against Paladin, in equal numbers, Paladin just shred them.
Yep.
And it's going to be so hard for Edward to get any sense of momentum when his Halbs are forced to engage against that mass of Paladins that get wiped up, and then the skirms are still pushing through the middle.
Yeah. It's like if Ilo will not lose the game before the semifinals, at least it's looking like that now. Let's see. See, guilds now to maybe sell food and sell wood Vilo, you are straight up playing with your food right now. I don't know who
Dude,
you are. You are
Yeah.
straight up playing with your food right now. Finish off this poor Edward Longshanks.
If I see heated shot, I'm gonna be so mad. Like if murder hole is heated shot, like any of that comes through, oof.
Architecture, hoardings. These are techs that are not needed right now. This is boost the score to get the enemy to resign type of a deal. And really shouldn't have this level of hesitancy with these armies, but you could also argue, you know, playing safe to make sure you don't throw a lead with expensive gold units, I suppose. We're getting close to could build a wonder territory, truthfully, but okay, all right. I mean, here Edward's got to realize 40 paladins with bombard cannons to back it up, and that castle's eventually going to go down, and Edward does tap out, Dave, calls the GG. I think I know who Vilo is. It just felt like the Viper, and a few of those small things. I mean, the victories, right? The dominance, the lack of worry in many of these games, the greed in many of these games. But more than anything, I think
if it is though, Tristan, and we don't, guys, remember, we don't know, so we're just throwing guesses out there. If it is Viper, how nice is that? The snake is back, man. He's dominating 2 series in a row, just crushing his opponents.
Also, as we have to sum up this game and then look to the bracket, in the next quarterfinal, meaning the winner would face a Vilo tomorrow, we think Hera's in there. And some people are saying Leary's in there too. So there's some big names on this side of the bracket. That can happen in Hidden Cup, Dave, but my salutes go out to Edward. Obviously, losing to a player of Vilo's quality, I don't think is anything you should be too disappointed about. I think there were moments, like Game 1, I was surprised we didn't see 3 TC Eco. Game 2, I was surprised we didn't see a few things. It could have been better by Edward's very high expectations after winning the first round the way he did. But in this particular game, it felt like it was just a matter of time with that eco difference and just that map control.
Yeah.
I'm curious if we're going to see that galley approach again on Bay, because that was unique, Dave. Just kind of give it up after a 6 fishing ship boom and then just snipe the enemy fish.
That might have been an improvised thing too. Might not have been planned.
Yeah, maybe. No, to go into Hidden Cup trying to improvise is a little risky in some ways, though, you could say. Maybe.
Well, if you've played 5 games and won 5 games in a row,
true.
I think you can, improvise
a
little bit.
Yeah, maybe after a game or two, you start to realize the level difference there if you are really good. But either way, this is what that bracket looks like, guys, and we are actually going to be right back. Oh, you guys get to vote first. I'm sorry.
Almost forgot again. Oh my God.
I know, I'm slacking. But yes, John the Fearless versus Philip the Good is the final quarterfinal to be played, and that will be coming up next. I'm so excited for that. That's probably going to be the best set of the day, truthfully. But yeah, let's go to the polls and see what viewers think. I'm not sure which name will pop up here first. Okay. There you go. Vote for the winner, guys. The only undefeated player. Who do you think it is? Take a stab at it. I am going to say we found the snake with the Viper. Easily could be some other player out there, Dave, like maybe Hera, Leary, Yo, Pato, Nikov. Arles having the absolute week of his life.
I don't mean that laugh like to demean Barrels or anything. He's not a regular tournament,
Yeah. He was the biggest standout to make it in, so that's why we make that joke. I think Barrels will probably be watching and chuckling himself. While this vote comes in, about 25 seconds. Thank you to all the new Prime subs. I can't say all your names, but Josh, appreciate it. Bydand, appreciate it. Sim, thank you. Again, $1 for every sub this channel has. At the conclusion of tomorrow, goes towards the final prize pool. The prize pool started at 65,000 with 60,000 from Microsoft. Thank you, Microsoft. And 5,000 from Zil and his friends. And then everything else is coming from the community here. So, by and large, the biggest sub count this channel's ever had. Viewer count's been insane too. Thank you, everybody. All right, so Dave, who you going with Edward? I'm still sticking with Backed, personally.
I could see Backed.
I think it was Backed versus Vivi in round 1, and I could see Backed 3-1ing Vivi. And then, Backed losing 3-0 to the Viper makes a little bit of sense. It looks like some votes are coming in for Viper because people might have delays, but that's where I'm going anyways.
Could be a player like maybe ACCM as well.
We also had some disconnects in Edward Longshank's first series and second series, which indicates maybe they were on like a certain server which was giving problems or they were further away from each other. I don't know. But yeah, maybe ACCM. I feel like I've always felt like ACCM a little bit stronger than Backed. I think he would have been a bit cleaner.
Recently.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. Recently.
And we don't know, like these players, a lot of these players have put in weeks of practice.
Yeah.
And you can, like, if you dedicate yourself for a couple weeks, you can really raise your level, especially if you're playing for hours a day in a focused manner. Like you can raise yourself up for a tournament like this.
Yeah, man. And I think we've seen that just over the years. The players who commit more time tend to really up themselves in our minds of who is who. But okay, viewers, thank you. Actually, not many people agreeing, but of the 1,000 votes we had, 35%, not bad there. Now, at the conclusion of the day tomorrow, before the big reveal, you guys will get to vote. You have to input your guesses for every single player. And we had, I think, 5 or 6 people get them all right last year.